I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Carden. And this week, oh my goodness, you are going to love my guest. She is so wonderful. And I have to tell you, it was really interesting when we got on a call, we found out that we actually are from the same area, which was really crazy because we are not close now in location. But Dr. Robyn Graham, welcome to my show.
Hi, Ann. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So Dr. Graham is actually a business coach, and I'm going to let her just introduce herself because I won't do her justice. She can just tell us everything that she's doing, but I will say that she works with a lot of startup entrepreneurs. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Yes, and she really helps them get their business going. So why don't you just jump in and tell everyone a little bit about what you do and also how you got into this?
Okay, so I'm going to start with when I lived in St. Louis, I got my doctorate in pharmacy. And so that is what my doctorate is in. Fast forward many years, we moved to the Pennsylvania area because for my husband's job. And I had a medical writing company. So I was consulting, doing medical writing for pharmaceutical companies, managed care companies, and marketing agencies. And all of that was amazing. It was incredible. But as my family grew and my children got older and we had travel sports and my husband was traveling 50% of the time and I was having to travel with no support system, we decided that I would follow my passion. I became a professional photographer. So I was a headshot and branding photographer for 12 years. And that led me to really dive into branding, what personal branding was, what brand strategy was. And I became a certified brand strategist and I started consulting with my photography clients. And I loved it so much that I ended up retiring from photography and now simply do brand strategy, brand marketing strategy, and business coaching for women who want to start and grow a business without having to rely on social media. So they can do that with simplicity, ease, and grace. And I teach them brand marketing strategy, SEO, search engine optimization, how to use email marketing, Pinterest marketing, but most importantly, really create clarity around what their purpose is, what their calling is. And we start with that so that we can really define who that soulmate client is so that there's no frustration. Their messaging is clear and concise, and they're able to connect with those people that they're truly meant to serve.
That is fantastic. And I love how you're helping them figure out their purpose. Are a lot of the women that you start with, are they coming from jobs or are they in businesses and maybe they're shifting or they can't figure out what's going on? Like, where are they in their journey, I should say, when they come to you?
You know, it's funny that you ask that, Anne, because I have had clients in all of those areas. For example, I have one.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. But I would say the majority of them were in corporate and now want to become an entrepreneur, or they were in corporate. They started a business, but they've been at it for maybe 6 months to a year, maybe even up to 5 years, but they just haven't gotten it off the ground. Maybe they have had a few clients, but they haven't hit that 6-figure mark. And so they just need help with the clarity piece. You know, why isn't this working? A lot of times it's because whatever's going on in your head is holding you back. Yeah. And, or they don't understand, like, truly how to create a personal brand and then differentiate themselves in the online space.
Right.
So, you know, I've had clients from a lot of different walks of life per se, but the majority of them were corporate and now an entrepreneur.
I love it. And one of the things too that is so important in the marketplace today, I think more than ever. I mean, I know I've been teaching this for many, many years, and I know we had that conversation, but the personal branding side of it, because so many entrepreneurs now have really the option to be almost solo, and they don't have to build big teams of people anymore because of automation and a lot of the technology and things that we have today. You can keep a very simplified, streamlined business. Personal branding is more important than ever because everyone is a brand, whether they realize it or not, good or bad, right? And so I love that you're really elevating this for them and really helping them figure these pieces out. But one thing that really intrigued me, and because you and I have been in business for many, many, many years, I built my business offline before I ever came online. And so I merged the two for my clients. And if they love to do things offline, I help them really bring those two worlds together. But you really teach them how to build their brand without social media. So I'm excited to dive into this and really uncover this a little bit and let people know, what in the heck are you talking about? Because everything now is about social media. It's funny. I help people get online because they're not online, and you help people go offline because that's all they're doing is sitting behind their computers. So I think this is going to be a fun show. So dive into that. Why not social media?
Okay. So there's a time and place for everything, right? But when you are first starting your business, or say you're in a place where you've lacked clarity and you haven't been able to make things go, right? What happens if you start on a platform that you don't own? You risk losing everything you have. Number two, when you are in a place of confusion or doubt or fear, you are more susceptible to getting sucked into comparison or imposter syndrome. What I want people to do is build the solid foundation first. Once the foundation is built and you have processes in place, systems in place, strategies in place, and you feel confident in your business, in your messaging, and you have clients coming in by using other tools like email marketing, Pinterest marketing, search engine optimization, a website that is functioning for you and working for you, not just sitting there to look pretty. You don't have to be on social media at first. And so you save yourself a lot of angst, a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of mindset barriers that come from social media. Once all of that is established, use social media to build relationships. That's awesome. I have built so many incredible relationships on social media, but I've also gotten sucked into, oh, they're doing the same thing I'm doing. Oh, well, they're doing that. Right. I should do that. Yes. And so when someone is starting out, you want to avoid that conflict that it could create in your mindset, because the reality is, if you have gifts and talents, they've all come from your journey to get you to the point where you are today. And we've all had a journey. We've all had experiences. I mean, when you look at my career, it's been so alinear, and very atypical to go from the science to creative to, and all of them have strategy involved. But, you can see how my journey, every experience I had led me right to where I am today and gave me the skill sets that I have. And it's the same for everybody. But when we get online, if we're distracted by what everybody else is doing because we think we have to be like them, we do a disservice to ourselves, and we do a disservice to those people that are just waiting for us to come along and solve their problem for them, or to help them solve their problem. So it's that distraction that can then prevent you from moving forward when you're starting a business or trying to grow it from a place of being stuck.
Right. I think it's interesting too that you're talking about this because, like I said, I built business, all my businesses were built offline before I ever came online. And I always am basically singing the same song. You don't just do one thing. Do not build your whole business. I worry about the people. I say this all the time, the people that are building their so-called business on Facebook and that's all they're doing. And if they get shut down, it's gone. And maybe they've built an email list, but it's not the same. It's not the same as being in different places. And really, like you said, the whole foundational piece, knowing how to really build a business. And I also say that if people are only teaching people how to like build a Facebook group and put people into a Facebook group, which is the big thing out there for coaches, right? To me, they're not teaching them how to build a business. That's a marketing strategy that you happen to be selling some products or some services. It's not a business. And so I feel like they're really, in a way, yes, you can make a lot of money like that. You can, but it's in the long run, is that going to be sustainable? Or we know these platforms are here today, gone tomorrow. And so if you don't have the foundation of what does it mean to build a business, what do I need to do to get my next client or to keep this thing going or keep doing it, you're really susceptible to and at risk in the marketplace for what you
agree. I agree. Yeah. And if you think about someone who's starting a business on Facebook, I can understand how people don't want to invest in a website, but let's face it, there are how many platforms out there now that make it really easy to build a website and they're cost effective. But if I'm shopping and I'm looking for something specific and I go, say, let's just use the example of you're on vacation and you want to get a treasure to bring home. You're walking down a street and on one side of the street, there's this beautiful little cottage with flowers, a white picket fence, someone standing at the door, greeting people as they walk in. It's well kept and they're selling exactly what you want. Well, across the street, there's somebody with a sign that says they're selling the exact same thing you want as well, but it's not kept up. The paint's chipping. There's no one at the door to greet you. It's dark. It looks dingy. Which one are you going to go to? Right. You're going to go to the one that's well kept and nice and polished and looks professional. It's the same thing for an online business. If you have a website that has clear, concise messaging, that has pictures of you so people can identify who you are, they can truly understand what you do, how you do it, who you serve, and it's aesthetically pleasing, versus someone who has a Facebook page. A Facebook page, right. Who are you going to hire? I'm going to hire the one that looks like they have really, truly put time and effort and energy and money into their business to make them look professional. Yes. Versus hiring someone from Facebook. And it's just that simple to me. It's a credibility. It absolutely is a credibility thing. If you're going to be 100%, it is a must. Yes. I love that you're bringing this up because I cannot tell you how often. Now, do you need it like to get your first client? No, you do not need a website to go get your first client, right? Go out and talk to somebody and get your first client. But I can't believe the advice that is out there. And I see it's really interesting. On Facebook, they're saying you don't need a website. You don't need a website if you're a coach or a consultant. On LinkedIn, that would never fly, right? So now you've got this difference of platforms. LinkedIn's a professional platform. Facebook is a social platform. But that kind of advice is being given to people that are coming into business. And it's very poor advice, in my opinion. And of course, I've pushed back on this for a long, long time in this industry, the kind of advice. And maybe if you're just building a Facebook group, it might not feel like you need that. But again, you have nothing. If that goes away or something happens, you're now no longer a business. If you have a website, you've got something to still work with. So I love that you're talking about this. Well, and when you think about, if you really want to have a successful business, you need a foundation, but you need the opportunity to grow. If you're trying to build something off of Facebook, number one, it could go away at any point in time. It could go down and then you can't run anything. But if you want to grow and ultimately have passive income, or, give yourself an opportunity to create a membership or an online course, or even have a successful coaching business, and build true relationships, you need to have other platforms. You can't just depend on Facebook. Yes. And yeah, so I agree with you 100%. I think you lose a lot of credibility doing that. And ultimately, when you're creating a business, like I said, you want to have a foundation that becomes the cornerstone of your business. Yes. But if you really want to be found, you need search engine optimization. And you're not going to have that.
Especially
Facebook.
In your local market. If you want to be found in your local market, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to have SEO. Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So what are the ways that you are teaching people to build their business? If it's not social media, and yes, a website, SEO, but what are some other ways? What are some other things that you're helping them with?
So we start, like I said, with the clarity around their purpose and their messaging. And a lot of times what happens when people are either new to entrepreneurship or they have been in the entrepreneurial arena, but have been sucked into comparison or, trying to build something online, and they're taking in all this information and trying all these different things, they lose sight of their passions and their values. So we start with, let's take a look at your values, visions, and passions. Where those three overlap like a Venn diagram, that's where I say your purpose lies. People can't always see that for themselves. And I like to say, we don't know what we don't know. And so having an extra set of eyes, that eagle eye perspective of your business, and have someone kind of walk you through some of these exercises is really helpful when you go to really define your soulmate client and your messaging. So we start there. And from there, we build out the brand marketing strategy, but that starts with your personal brand. Your personal brand is what other people think, say, and feel about you. But your branding is how you differentiate yourself, how you communicate, what makes you unique, and how you tell everybody your story and all these experiences that you've had to give you the expertise that you have today, so that they know that you're the one for them, not somebody else who's doing the same thing.
Right.
And then you have your brand assets, your brand identity, like your logo, your color palette, and your typography, and all of those things, which combined help you become recognizable and memorable. Ultimately, our goal is to build trust so that we're shareable, right?
Right.
So that's where we start. And from there, we decide, okay, so where is your soulmate client? Where are they hanging out? What do they need from you? What do they need to hear from you? What is going to resonate with them most? I start with the website, because when you have that messaging on your website and you have search engine optimization, people can find you from all over the world. Doesn't matter where they live. So you've got to know who, when you know who your audience is, and demographics is included in that. Are they local or are they global? Are they domestic? Where are they, and who do you serve, and where do you serve them? So that becomes part of that. And then once you have your copy on your website, then you can start your blog. Blogging is incredibly powerful for bringing people into your world. Not only are you showing your expertise, but you're creating an opportunity for people to learn from you, see value, and grow trust. But then search engine optimization is key. Once you have a blog, you can start with Pinterest marketing and email marketing. The three of them go hand in hand, because your goal ultimately is to have an email list that you have, that you own, and you have control over when you can reach your people. We know that on social media, you're only going to reach 2% of your audience. Right. Doesn't matter how many followers you have, you're only going to reach 2% of your population that follows you. Whereas email, the average open rates for email are upwards of 25 to 30%. So you're going to reach a lot more people, even if you have a smaller email list, than you do a following on social media. So you want to grow that email list so that you can communicate at any given point in time. So I teach my clients how to create a nurture sequence, how to create a lead magnet or a free gift, a free ebook that can draw their clients in, get their email address, and then continue to build a relationship with them through email marketing. We use Pinterest marketing, again, to drive traffic to the blog post. The blog posts have a call to action to download a free gift, an ebook, to book a call, whatever, so that you're getting email addresses there as well. So that's how we start. And then from there, I'll teach social media strategies, but it's not until we have the foundation and all of those strategies in place to then be able to have some I guess, have that solid foundation to then have security for the long-term success versus having to backpedal later on.
Now, what if their clients are you? So you're talking a lot about Pinterest, and I know that that is an area where you are really, really solid and really good at. What if your clients are not on Pinterest? I am not a Pinterest user. I don't get on Pinterest. And so what do you do in that situation?
Here's my guess is that you think of Pinterest as a DIY site. Pinterest is a search engine. Pinterest has the weight of Google when it comes to search engine optimization. Okay. So that is why I say that. I'm not saying go on Pinterest and get ideas, go on Pinterest and socialize. I'm saying have a strategy. And that strategy involves keywords and key phrases to drive traffic to your website. Okay,
great clarification there. Just like LinkedIn is a search engine. So I talk about that all the time as well. It's so robust and powerful. So I love that. So let's talk about the mindset of someone new coming from corporate, trying to find their purpose. We know that mindset is a huge, huge issue when people are just getting started in their business. It really can hold them back. And that was one of the things that we said we wanted to talk about was the mindset and the foundation of a business. So I'm going to let you dive into that just a little bit.
Okay, so some of the mindset barriers that it's like some of the mindset barriers that people will experience, and I have a whole blog post about this, but fear, doubt, procrastination, perfectionism, all of comparison, all of those things can hold you back, keep you stuck. Money mindset is another big challenge. So, big one. Right? Not knowing how to price your offer, not even knowing how to create an offer, especially if you've been in corporate where you've had this entire support system and you've basically been told, here's what we offer. And, here's how it's packaged and here's the pricing. So it can be very overwhelming to discover, or not even discover, but to see and to truly believe in the value that you're providing. I don't believe in trading time for dollars. I believe in looking at the value that you provide and what is the perception of that value from someone else that needs your service. And I'll give you an example. So I recently worked with a woman who is a life coach, but she helps people who are in corporate get promotions. So mid-level management go from that mid-level to the next level, to an executive level. So she was pricing her services at like $150 for multiple sessions, multiple hours of time with her.
Oh my goodness.
And so I asked the question, well, if this is your ideal client, what do you think they perceive the value? If you're charging that much, do you think they're going to believe that you're going to provide the value and the ultimate service and the end product that they want? And so it's flipping that switch in your mind that, oh my gosh, so this is my client and they want to get to this point or make this much money. How, if I can get them there, that means my service is worth way more. But it's really changing your mindset around, okay, money it's just currency. It's transactional. There should be no guilt.
No emotion attached to it at all.
No, it's something that is exchanged for something else. And so shifting that mindset. And then as far as, perfectionism and some of those other things that hold us back, it really becomes learning how to navigate that. So, and a lot of times if you think that, well, it has to be perfect or I can't put it out in the world, you're never going to put it out into the world.
You'll be
the reality is, and you have to switch that thinking that if I hold on to this and don't put it out into the world, I'm doing a disservice to those people that need it. And I have some exercises that I like to use. One comes from, it's similar to Brooke Castile. She's the life coach method, I think is what she calls it. But if you think about the fact that we all have a belief system, and that belief system about ourselves comes from past experiences, it comes from faith, it comes from what we've been taught to believe, what other people have said to us, experiences we've had in terms of trauma or lack thereof, whatever. And so we have a belief system about ourselves. Our belief system is going to trigger the thoughts that we have about ourselves. Our thoughts are going to then influence the emotions and our feelings. And and then those are going to trigger the choices we make, the behaviors we choose, and the actions that we take. And then that's going to produce our outcomes. Well, if we start with a negative mindset or something that is blocking us, a mindset barrier, like I'm not good enough, or I don't have the expertise in that, or someone else is already doing that, then we're going to have those negative thoughts. And those negative thoughts are going to cause us to feel yucky, not confident, doubtful, hopeless. And then our choice is going to be to not do anything.
Right.
And therefore, we're going to have no outcomes. We're not going to create a business, or we're not going to be able to grow our business. And so many times, I know men have this experience too, but especially women, they let fear hold them back because they don't think that they're going to be good enough because somebody else is already doing it. But if you think of yourself as a magnet, like inside of you, we all have all these cells and they all have energy. And this is not like new age woo-woo stuff. This is just like scientifically, right? We have energy in every cell in our body. Well, if you think of your energy is this gift that you have to solve a problem or to help someone else. It's all of that energy comes from all of the experiences that you've had in your journey or whatever God's given you, right? Well, there's somebody over there, maybe in another state, maybe across the world, who has a problem. And the energy that they have is the other side of that magnet. And it's being drawn to you. and so you have these capabilities and they have this problem, but they need you because nobody else has had the exact experience that you've had.
Yes.
That they understand and relate to, or that has given you the expertise to be able to have the empathy that they need someone to have in order to help them. So it's doing these exercises, and I like to say, you can catch these negative thoughts that you have and challenge them. Are they realistic? Like if you were to say to me, well, I don't know, somebody else is already doing this. I don't think that I could ever have success with that. Could you prove that in a court of law? Is it rational? Is it realistic? Would your best friend that you love and respect and trust think the same thing about you that you're thinking? And if the answer is no, then change those thoughts.
Right.
This isn't something that you just do once. This takes daily practice, right?
Yes.
And then once you implement this strategy, though, you're going to have more control over those negative thoughts. So the more control you have, the quicker you can change them to something positive. And then you're going to have more confidence to be able to put one foot in front of the other, to take action, to grow your business.
And just having that awareness, that's a big piece of it too, is having the awareness that these are things that hold people back. And these are things that can easily be changed, easily be shifted, easily be redirected or reframed. These are all just parts of really understanding how to control what is going on in your mind, and then how to do things differently. I do want to talk about the money mindset piece just a little bit, because this is such a huge thing when people are going into business and they've always had a job, and that is debt versus investment. So a lot of people coming from jobs where they are given a paycheck for their time, they're trading that time for money. They don't understand, if they say they want to buy your services or buy my services, they do not realize that they are making an investment into themselves, into their future, into being able to make more money. It's an investment where there at some point should be a return, right? And so they have to look at it this way. And too many of them are like, well, I don't want to put that on a credit card. I don't want debt. Well, I have built a lot of businesses. I know you've built businesses, and if you bootstrap things, which you certainly can do, where that means you make a little bit of money, you put it back in, that's just such a long road. And I think maybe that worked before. Now you just become irrelevant in the market trying to do that. because you have to build your business with speed, in my opinion, these days. Because so many people are coming into the market, and even what worked 2 years ago is not working today. So if you are trying to, I'll make a little bit of money and then I'll put it back in. And I built some businesses that way, but it's not even relevant because business is moving at, the speed of light anymore. Do you agree with that? And do you see that whole thing as well?
I agree 100%. And I talk a lot about that. If you're sitting there trying to DIY your business because you want to save money, good luck to you, because it's going to take you 10 times longer. Whereas if you hire someone who's already done it, who has the expertise and who knows what you don't know, and can identify the struggles that you're experiencing and give you a completely new perspective. If you've never done this before, why would you try to do it yourself without tapping into resources that are invaluable? When you talk about ROI like that, you're not talking about, okay, I'm going to invest $10,000. When will I see that $10,000? You're looking at, okay, I'm going to invest $10,000 because I now will have a lifetime of potential to earn money.
It will move me forward.
Yes. And light years ahead. And, that's the most remarkable thing, because people, especially the type of work I'm doing, they don't know that what systems, and even people who are already making six figures. My coach tells me this all the time. She's like, Robyn, you have such a gift with this SEO. Like, nobody, even six-figure people, do not know how to use any of this stuff. They don't understand it. And I'm like, I know, because I'm a geek, but, when you don't know what systems and tools and processes are available to you so that you can automate your business, and you're trying to do all this manually, things are going to fall through the cracks. You're not going to build the rapport you need for referral sources, and you're not going to be efficient, and you're going to end up burnt out. So why not have someone hold your hand and guide you and love you at the same time so that you can do this faster? Because the faster you have an impact, the faster you make money.
No, I totally agree. But I do know that it is something that as a startup, you have to overcome. And I always use the example. Look, if you were going to open, because I built brick and mortar businesses before I ever came online. If you were going to open a store, if you were going to open a brick and mortar businesses, you had to get the rent, you had to get the supplies, you had to get the equipment, whatever it is you're doing, right? None of that stuff is free. And you've got the utilities that you have to pay every month. And if you're ever going to have a break from that business, you're going to have some other help, right? You can't do everything in that business. I don't see very many businesses, unless it's a lawnmower mechanic that fixes lawnmowers on his own. I don't see most businesses where there's only one person. And yet, for some reason, people have this mindset when they come into business that they don't have to invest. It's free. They can just figure it out. It's just the craziest thing to me that they don't realize business is not free. The only difference is you're investing in different things when you're an online business. You're investing in mentors that can help you with all the craziness. And even if you're building offline, you're still talking about online tools here. You're still talking about using your computer and having, using your business in that way. And so if people think that they can do this free, it's just unrealistic, because there's too much to learn. It took me a lot of mentors and years to figure out everything that I now teach. And it's consistently changing. We have to stay on top of it. So for people that are listening to this, you have to think about making an investment into your business, just like if you were going to open a store. The only difference is you're going to invest in different things. You're not maybe having products that you're buying, and you're not, maybe I do have rent because I do have an office, but maybe you don't have to have that rent. But a mentor is going to be where you invest in yourself. Your skills is going to be where you invest. Tools that you're going to need to run that business is where you're going to invest. So I really just wanted to hit on that, because, and the other thing is, it is not debt. It is not debt when you are going to see an ROI at some point, and you have to think about it differently. You have the opportunity to pay that off and make more money with what you are learning and what you are doing. And debt is, I put this phone on a credit card and I now have to pay the phone off, right? And there's no way, although we know a phone can give you a return on your investment, but let's just say it doesn't give me any kind of a return and I still have to pay that off. That's debt. And people need to understand the difference when they're coming into business for the first time. Well, actually, people that are even in business, I see the same thing. Just a mindset around money.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to note too, like I've had clients come to me where they had spent a really hefty price on their website, say $10,000 for a website that they thought was working for them. And when we started working together and I look at the back end of their website, they have no SEO on that website, not even meta descriptions. So even if they were to come up on Google, there's no meta description. There's nothing to lure people into their website, and not lure as in a creepy way, but bring people, spike their attention so that they want to come to click to go to your site. And so you have to discern too. And, the same person that helps me may not be a right fit for you and vice versa, because we all have personalities, we all have values, and all of that needs to be taken into consideration when you're evaluating who is going to help you, who you want to help you. The price has to be right. Timing has to be right. But you also have to discern, is this person aligned with your values? Is this person aligned with your visions and where you want to go for your future? Has this person walked the walk that you're walking? And really have to discern what is right for you and your business. Two of the most common objections for hiring help when people are starting a business or when they've been in business, but they're now stuck, or they haven't gotten it off the ground at the level they wanted, are time and money. And, we circle back to that money objection and whether or not there is an ROI, but also women, I think it was until the 90s that women could not get a business loan without a man signing for alongside them.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was the 90s. And so, now that's not a problem. Now you can get a small business loan and the interest rates aren't too high. PayPal offers a program where you can borrow money from PayPal to start your business. There are so many resources now. There's credit cards. And what I've told people,
and things like that.
There are grants. Yes. You can pitch angel investors for your business. There's so many opportunities. And you can borrow money from, an inheritance that you're going to get eventually. You can borrow money from a family or a friend and pay them back with interest, but you can use a credit card like you mentioned before, but be smart about it and use one where you're going to get miles or hotel points or something, cash back, right?
Love those.
Yeah. And then for time, if you're working in corporate, but you want to become an entrepreneur because you feel this calling on your heart, or you want the luxury of freedom with your time and where you work and who you serve, coach with someone on your lunch break. Because instead of it taking you 2 years to be able to leave your corporate job, you can do this in 6 months or whatever time frame, and then you're done. You can leave.
Yes.
What a success story that is, right?
Yeah, that's a great tip. I do know a lot of people have a hard time if they're going to come from corporate or start a business. They really have a hard time with doing both of those things. And it isn't easy. It's not easy, right? To do that. So you either take the leap and you realize there's going to be an investment and you should have the funds to do that. Or like you said, there are other ways around it. But it's really no different it is different, but it's not. If you think about a stay-at-home mom who's got babies and kids, they're having to figure out how they can make it work. And it really does, to me, come down to desire. How badly do you want it? How important is it to you? Because if it's important to you, you'll figure it out. You'll work on the weekends. You'll work in the evenings. You'll do what you have to do to make that happen. So we could talk all day. I know we're on time here. We're right at the time here, but this has been so great. How can people get a hold of you? And what is the best way to really connect with you?
So I always refer people to my website because there's a plethora of information there. You can find my books, a podcast, my coaching. You can join my email list there. I send out weekly email journaling prompts around mindset on Mondays. And if anybody has questions about anything I said, I always welcome people to email me. Just email me at info@therobyngraham.com, and my website is therobyngraham.com. So those are the best ways to get a hold of me. I do pop into social media periodically, but LinkedIn is my platform of choice, and that would be at the Robyn Graham again as well is my handle. So
perfect. And I think we, I don't think that's where we met, but that we definitely connected on LinkedIn. So
yes.
This has been so great. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and everything that you're doing. And thank you for the impact you're making out there. There's such a need for what you're doing out there with women and helping women. So I love that. And I appreciate you so much being here.
Thank you. It was an honor, and I appreciate the opportunity so much.
You are welcome. Everyone, make sure that you connect with Dr. Robyn Graham. Find her on LinkedIn. All her links and everything will be in the show notes, so you can reach out to her in multiple ways. And if you have a need for her services, please do get a hold of her. And until next time, I want to thank you so much for listening to another episode of Expert in You podcast, and we'll see you next week. God bless you. Have an amazing day. If you've enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to go check out a free training that I have at expertinu.us. It is a training that I have on how you can get ultra premium dream clients, scale your business, get more freedom, and really simplify your business and multiply your money. So go check that out. And again, that is expertinu.us. I want to thank you for being here with me this week. I hope you found massive value. Please always leave a comment, feedback, or a question. We check them all. And I want you to go rock your business and make sure you join us again next week. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.